Hi guys, I'm Michael.
And I'm Patrick, and you're watching an episode of Star Wars News and Views. Today we'll be talking about something that I'm sure you've all heard about recently, the Rogue One reshoots. Now, the initial rumor, kind of coming from MakingStarWars.net, and a lot of the rumor had sprouted from...
And other sources.
Yeah. And a lot of these were coming from crew members of the actual film.
Supposedly.
They were told that a lot of the movie had to be reshot, that the idea for the reason why was that it was too dark, and they wanted to reshoot, make it a bit more comedic, and that, like, they just had a whole different tone of the movie in mind now.
And that Disney was panicking. They said up to 40% of the movie.
Yeah. They also said that J.J. Abrams would be coming on board to help out, and that Christopher McQuarrie, one of the screenwriters, was going to be on board and actually being a huge part of the reshoot. On top of that, I guess they're saying they're going to work 6 days a week for the next 8 weeks, and that they had to reshoot 40% of the whole movie. Which is
8 weeks is a long time for reshoots.
Yeah, and especially because it's supposed to come out at the end of the year, it leaves them very little amount of time for it to be done.
To reshoot 40% of it.
And they said they want it done by the end of August, like the whole movie to be done by August. So
here's the thing about that. There was all this debate about how legitimate is this and how realistic is this? Mm-hmm. And this is what I always thought, like, this can't possibly be true. It doesn't make any sense. And Entertainment Weekly has not confirmed officially, but they have a lot of sources that are kind of clarifying things. Mm-hmm. And these are points, like, we never did the video on this just because we were having kind of a little bit of time off. Mm-hmm. And I was saying to you and other people the exact same thing that they're now reporting. Number one, you're going to reshoot 40% of the movie, and it's coming out in December. You're not moving the release date? Impossible.
Yeah, they said there's no way.
Can't be done.
There'd be no way time to get it done by August.
Can't be done.
It would be impossible.
Yeah. So that's aside from that.
This is just some number thrown out too. It can't be
it's an approximation. It's close to half. Yeah. Number two, Gareth Edwards has gone on record saying, like, Disney's very on board with supporting a sort of grittier war movie, Star Wars, that's not the same as the episodes. Yeah. So it doesn't make sense that they would do an about face, but maybe they saw the footage and they're like, oh my god, we're in trouble. Like, I mean, that's what happened with Fantastic Four.
Yeah, right.
And I think if it wasn't for Fantastic Four, or what was it? Fan-Fortastic Four? Or like they have, whatever it is. If it wasn't for that movie coming out so recently and being like a total disaster and also being connected to Star Wars because of Josh Trank, and he kind of screwed up his entire career right now. If it wasn't for that, people wouldn't be jumping to these conclusions.
Yeah.
So this is what Entertainment Weekly has dug up. So, okay, well, before I get into that, it's common. It's not only common, it's standard for every major Hollywood movie to schedule reshoots in advance. They did that on the prequels. They scheduled reshoots before cameras had even rolled as part of the process because they knew, there's so many special effects and stuff, and once we get the first cut, then we'll know what we need to add and subtract.
So apparently Gareth Edwards had said that they had planned these reshoots for this time anyways.
Before the cameras had rolled.
Yeah.
And number two, what they said is that it's not, all the cast members are involved, but the reason they're doing reshoots, which were pre-planned before they even rolled cameras, was just once they have the first edit. Now they have the first edit, they can see what they need, what they don't need, and it's for clarity of plot and clarity of plot development.
Yeah, and they've got such an ensemble cast, they really have to plan everyone's schedules ahead of time. So they'd be like, let's shoot a lot of the movie now, and then once we get that, we'll look at all the footage, and whatever we need to pick up again, we'll reschedule for everyone to come back at some point in the future after all the schedules have been finished.
And that's why, because 8 weeks or whatever it is, that is an unusually long time for reshoots. Usually it's like, maybe 3, maybe 4 weeks. But because, if you remember, the release date of Rogue One was pushed back. It was supposed to come out in May. They pushed it back to December. Yeah. So that means the reshoots had to be, in turn, pushed back. But the actors weren't under contract for that, so they've all gone on to other projects.
Yeah, exactly.
So to get them all together, that's what stretches out the shooting time.
Yeah. Also, to go on, Christopher McQuarrie came on record and said he has nothing to do, he's not going to be a big part of the reshoots. No. It's going to be mostly Gareth Edwards, because everyone kind of thought that Disney just started to like dislike Gareth Edwards take
And
on
like,
all of this,
and he's
just,
gonna
like,
take over.
Yeah, but he said he's not gonna have very little to do with the reshoots, and because of that, I kind of really doubt that J.J. Abrams will have much to do with these reshoots. I think
Well, he's like a consultant, but maybe but for the reshoots, I doubt it.
Yeah, I think what people were thinking was that they were just gonna take Gareth Edwards off, and they were just gonna give it to other people to finish off the movie, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
So what EW is reporting is a lot of the scenes are like inserts within scenes, so it's like a lot of like people talking to each other in cockpits, like within an existing scene where like a character point or a plot point wasn't quite as clear, and they need to redo that and make it clear. And that's what they did in the prequels. That's what they did on the original trilogy. It's standard for any blockbuster.
And they probably had to wait until they had finished a lot of like the basic parts of the CG just to kind of like have the storyboard out and see how long certain things would take and say, okay, well, this action scene actually looks better if we do it for this much longer, so we have to cut out this.
Or we took out this section, so now this doesn't make sense, so we have to have a line that like fills that in.
Or we need him to like do some sort of action thing, but he should say something as well while that's going on, so reshoot that. You know, there's a lot of these like smaller things that have to come together still with the movie.
So anyway, don't worry about the reshoots. Standard practice for Hollywood. That's what we were saying from day one.
And it's doubtful it's 40% of the entire movie.
It's definitely not. If it was 40%, you'd be seeing this in May of 2017.
Yeah, for sure.
Not December of this year. 40%? It's basically like you're redoing the whole movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, guys, leave us your feedback. Leave us what you think about this. If you think the original rumors are true, or if this debunkment is true or false.
Yeah.
There's a lot to chew on here. We just thought we'd make I know it's kind of a little bit old news now. This debunkment is kind of, if that's a word, debunkment?
Yeah.
Is it? I just made that up. But, you know, this is kind of more recent, so maybe this is the first time you're hearing it. Anyway.
Yeah, the panic, I think, sort of came from this being from crew members, but the crew members probably don't know too much. They kind of just heard what they, like, you know, behind
Oh, yeah.
behind
Like,
the
I used to work on the film industry, and, you know, the gossip mill starts, and it's like, I heard from this guy and this guy that, you know, so-and-so's going to be fired.
I heard J.J. Abrams' dog is going to be directing it at the end of this. It's like, what?
Anyway, guys, so thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to us. I know we've had a lot of time off, but we'll be back all the time just because, you know, sometimes you need to take a break. It's life.
Yeah,
you know?
life. Sometimes you gotta go to the store, buy yourself a little chocolate, take a break.
Yeah.